Hello, and thank you so much for your interest in hearing about our best practices in migrating your contact center to Amazon Connect. My name is Naomi Hall, and I'm a Connect migrations consultant with AWS Professional Services. I've worked in the contact center space for over 23 years, and I've been with AWS specializing in Amazon Connect a little over 2.5. Throughout my career, I've helped lead numerous contact center migrations with on-premises contact centers, and I'm excited to share with you today why migrating to Amazon Connect is different. I'm joined today by my colleague Angie.
Hi, and thanks again for joining. My name is Angie Talley, and I'm an Amazon Connect consultant with AWS Professional Services. I myself have been working as a contact center consultant for over 13 years, and I've been with AWS in the Amazon Connect Global Specialty Practice for about a year and a half.
To help give you a holistic view of how to approach contact center migration with Amazon Connect, we'll focus on these learning objectives during this session. What is Amazon Connect? We'll provide you a quick overview of the service. Then we'll talk about why are customers migrating. Whether you have tens of thousands of agents, a few hundred, or are solely self-service with no agents, what are the most common migration drivers, questions, and outcomes? We'll share these migration patterns and best practices we follow based on our years of hands-on experience helping customers migrate. These are the successful practices we follow with Amazon Connect. And on that note, we'll share with you some Amazon Connect customer migration stories. At this point, you may be asking yourself, how do I know if I need help? We'll talk about some of the common indicators to determine if you need help. And finally, we'll share with you some resources on how we can help you get started in your migration journey. Amazon Connect is a simple to use cloud-based contact center service we brought to the market over 3.5 years ago to enable businesses to deliver exceptional omni-channel customer experiences that are natural, dynamic, and personalized. Amazon Connect includes all the standard functionality contact center operations teams have come to expect, including skills-based routing, which maximizes the efficiency of agents and ensures you connect the customer to the right agent at the right time. Voice and chat interactions are recorded, making it easy to monitor and improve agent quality. All of the common reports and analytics you would expect are available and easy to use, including service level, handle time, and agent performance. Our customers often tell us how much they love the audio quality for calls with Amazon Connect. Using a standard broadband internet connection, agents can be located virtually anywhere, empowering businesses to offer increased flexibility for work-at-home agents. The only hardware you need is a USB headset. As you can imagine, this has been especially impactful for customers during the COVID pandemic. So why are customers migrating? We find that as customers plan to migrate to Amazon Connect, they are looking for ways to get a better understanding of their contact center infrastructure and find what are the key drivers that inhibit their migration to the cloud. You may be running outdated infrastructure, requiring expensive, time-consuming software or hardware upgrades. We find that customers are often in situations where they are coming up on a maintenance renewal contract for end-of-life software. And in these cases, we'll prioritize and structure timelines to target migration completion in front of that renewal. You may be driven by compelling events, such as a cost objective or target dates to exit and consolidate data centers. In our experience, we've worked with customers who were already well into their cloud migration journey, but their contact center is one of the last remaining on-premises platforms to migrate. We've also seen the vice versa of this, where Amazon Connect is their first step in the cloud migration journey, and it's driven by a cost objective. It may be difficult to integrate with your customer data, yet customers have come to expect that their information is known, that you know who they are when they contact you, and that the agent they speak with gets their information without having to ask a second time. You may have experienced this yourself at times. Have you ever contacted a customer service department and were asked by the interactive voice response, also known as the IVR, to say why you're calling, enter your account information, and verify your identity? Yet the information was not passed on to the agent, requiring them to ask you all the same questions again. This can be an incredibly frustrating experience for customers that can be addressed by integrating your customer data. With Amazon Connect and its ability to natively invoke AWS Lambda functions, our serverless compute service, you can easily integrate with web-based applications and not only pass the data to your agents, but proactively make routing decisions to predict why customers are calling. And you may not have omni-channel capabilities today, yet customers have become accustomed to using chat as a preferred channel, for example. Customers looking to reach customer service, sales, or other departments today, they often start with looking for ways to contact you via your company website or your mobile app. They've come to expect to see start a chat as an option. Not only can you provide chat as a channel with Amazon Connect, but you can have a seamless transition from a bot to a live agent, passing the transcript to the agent. You can also escalate to a voice call and pass that chat transcript to the agent, providing a true channel agnostic experience. And in general, reducing costs is a top priority outcome. Yet we find boards of directors expect more than just cost savings and efficiency. They want to deliver innovation and modernize their businesses. They want to reinvest cost savings to drive new technologies into the business. And they want to be able to move faster as businesses transform customer and agent experiences. Those of you who've experienced migrating contact centers with on-premises platforms know how daunting an effort this can be. It can take years to migrate a large on-premises contact center with reliance on bringing in additional resources for project planning, training, vendor management, and those with proprietary knowledge of those platforms. And we're seeing a trend with our customers looking to free themselves of managing on-premises infrastructure for their contact centers, especially when they've already begun moving other workloads to the cloud. I remember having to work with vendors to order circuits, run cabling, install servers, provision phone numbers, all of which took months of planning before we could even get started with configuration. With Amazon Connect, a fully cloud-based contact center, you can get straight to the configuration, realizing the value of the capabilities sooner. We often see customers start realizing the agility benefits from the very start of their migration kickoff. Angie will dive more into this, but it's pretty exciting to see customers start working in sprint cycles where they can continuously iterate on the customer and agent experience from day one. Today, we'd like to help answer some of the most common questions we get from customers thinking about contact center migration. Questions like, how do I get started? What methodology to follow? What are my migration incentives? We'll share with you our best practices, our common approach to planning and accelerated migration, how to know if you need help, and finally, we'll share those resources to help you get started in your own Amazon Connect migration journey. Now I'd like to hand it over to Angie to share with you our migration best practices.
Thank you, Naomi. So let's talk a little bit about migration best practices. So at Amazon, our approach is always to start with an agile working methodology. At Amazon, we work backwards from the customer and build iterative plans to deliver quick value in a repeatable fashion. That allows for continuous testing, learning, and delivering based on priorities. Building and delivering the capabilities at the most critical points in time, but in a way that allows for the business to continuously add value for their customers, agents, and stakeholders. So, to do that, we think big and start small. For example, customers will often start with migrating internal lines of business like a help desk or a self contained department because you don't want your agents having to take calls on two platforms simultaneously. So, to start that process, you then align on your strategy, your North Star. Once you determine what that North Star is, start building core capabilities, but also test and explore new features like speech recognition or reporting, things that you might not have had before. Look for your minimum lovable product. And you'll notice I said minimum lovable, not minimum viable product. So, because at AWS, we're always looking to delight our customers and not just do the bare viable minimum. So look for those places to add that value quickly. So for example, you can build a simple Lex bot for capturing utterances so you can learn about common intents and why your customers are calling. And then you can iterate on that bot and add in self-service opportunity, say like a password reset or account balance check to get started. You could do the same with integrating the contact control panel or soft phone within your CRM, like Salesforce, for example. Use these small departments or internal teams as a test bed so you can learn and practice integration and deployment as you grow. Once done, you can use that knowledge then that you've gained from your first iterations of Lex or contact flows or CRM integration to build upon that and plan a phased rollout and scale your migrations. This iterative approach is important because it allows you to scale as you learn. And as Amazon Connect and AWS iterate ourselves and add more features, you're then able to come along for the ride. So, why is this important? To take this approach, how do you get started? The key to a good contact center migration is a good discovery and a planning process to start. So, we may work agile, but you have to have your goals in sight to determine what those minimum level products will be along the way. You can't just dive in without good planning. So, again, at AWS, we work backwards. We'll start with the discovery exercise to determine what our goals and requirements are. Where do we want to end up? And then work backwards from that. Since anyone with an AWS account can easily stand up an instance of Connect, customers may have already implemented a proof of concept or a pilot, trying out some features, and may have gleaned some learnings from that we can take into account during this discovery. We conduct a workshop then with the customer, including their subject matter experts from across the business, operations, IT, and management to capture all contact center requirements and capabilities, along with the business landscape and an organizational alignment. We want to be sure that no voices are left out. We talk about the art of the possible and imagine what great new experiences we might be able to create on Connect. So then we'll take all that and prioritize it into a list, making sure we account for the gap between our starting point and where we want to be when we're done. To move forward, we'll then create a high level design and architecture, outline a migration plan, and a roadmap. This plan and roadmap then feeds into the sprint planning and we'll launch the agile development process. Now, it's important to note that developing your own set of questions to help guide the discovery conversation is key. There are so many questions to ask around technology, operations, reporting, you name it. Again, we don't want to leave out key voices. So, we've put together a few suggested areas to consider when developing your own checklist and put it in 2 slides at the end of this presentation deck. So, be sure at the end of this presentation to download that and check it out to help you formulate your own plans and make sure that no important voice is left out of this process. So, once we've narrowed in on an iterative plan to develop the ideal experience, we find it best then to begin our implementation in 2 week sprint cycles. 2 weeks usually works the best for us. Because there's no infrastructure then to manage, no hardware build to deal with, you can focus on building your foundational framework and iterate on it right away. This lack of infrastructure is key to what makes an Amazon Connect migration different and unique. You don't have to wait around, as Naomi noted, for cabling or server builds or anything like that. You're able to just dive in with your initial contact flows or Lexbot experiences and make great first demos that get your stakeholders engaged and excited about the process. Each ongoing sprint then will end in a demo that allows everyone to see the experience grow and evolve and offer feedback then to improve your process. We've noted here on the left some example capabilities to include in an initial launch, taking care to include features outside just the contact flows, like reporting, screen pops, operational alerting, trying to make sure that we delight as many stakeholders as possible without overwhelming everyone with too many features or tasks right out the gate. So now we show 6 steps here on the right, again as an example. But since this is an iterative process, you definitely don't want to wait until the end just to get started on the 6th item. As you go through each sprint, you want to make sure you're touching on each of the major points to keep everybody engaged as you go. And as a final note here, as you go through this process, don't forget to create your playbook for the next stages of migration. Keep all those lessons learned, processes you created, source code control, designs, notes on any obstacles you overcame and processes you need to refine, or any other valuable information that can help the next group. That allows you then to accelerate your migration onto Amazon Connect with every subsequent group that you have to do. And so finally, after successful migration and very first launch, we're ready to move on to even more groups or bigger feature sets. So now that you have those lessons learned and you have a playbook to get you started, you're ready to tackle even more. It's great at this point, for example, to train others on how to migrate. So, for example, if you're working with an IT or an operations team or even other engineers who have contact center backgrounds or not, you can let them come alongside and use that playbook you developed and begin to migrate other groups in parallel. We noted here an agile flywheel that shows this process. It's a never ending cycle of opportunity to not just migrate new groups, but also continuously improve those that have already migrated. So, as you decide to add new features to an existing group or try out new capabilities that come online with Amazon Connect. So, to wrap up our process section, how might this look on a timeline? Since we're agile, we take what we learned from that first phase, as we noted, and then realign to our North Star as we begin each phase, making sure that we never lose sight of that delightful experience we're trying to create. It's good to note that migrations need not be in sequence. Multiple groups can be migrating in parallel using shared instances, using multiple Connect instances, or even multiple parallel accounts. The more migrations that do, your faster your velocity will become. Now, you don't have to take my word for it. Let's take a look at some customer stories to add some color to how accelerated and streamlined an Amazon Connect migration really can be. So you'll see here first, Dow Jones has noted that they were able to migrate in just 3 weeks instead of months. This is a key feature of an Amazon Connect migration. It moves much faster than an on-prem migration, to be sure. I know with my experience over the years as well with on-prem migrations, they could take months and months. And this vastly shortened cycle that you see here, weeks instead of months, has now become the norm for us versus the exception. This speed then allows time and funding to be put towards developing more interesting experiences versus spending time or money on hardware and infrastructure. See, Priceline notes as well that when COVID-19 hit, they were able to enable 1,000 agents to work from home overnight. Now, this is a story we've heard over and over again, particularly with COVID-19. Many of our customers have had to pivot literally overnight, like Priceline did. And the agility of this process and of Amazon Connect itself makes this possible even when you aren't dealing with a pandemic. And finally, Intuit here notes that the seamless integration between Amazon Connect and Salesforce allow them to customize their agent experience and add more data at the agent's fingertips. That increases the agent's productivity as well as bettering your caller experience at the same time. But speaking of Salesforce, it's not actually just an integration point for us. It's a success story in and of itself. I personally was very proud to be part of the engagement with Salesforce, migrating Salesforce's sales and support call centers from their on-prem to cloud-based solution. So as you can see here, Salesforce is the #1 customer relationship management platform. I think everybody's probably heard of Salesforce at some point. They needed to migrate more than 4,000 sales and support agents onto Amazon Connect. And these agents are not just US based. It was all over the world. We stood up instances in the US, Frankfurt, Tokyo, and working in an agile way, as we've talked about here, we're able to roll different groups online in different regions, all while continuing to build in other regions at the same time. So we constantly had groups in motion, teams in motion, working together, sharing that playbook, sharing those lessons learned, and bringing different groups online in like a staggered formation. So they're able to migrate in a smooth sequence over time. We worked really closely with the Salesforce team together, hand in hand, and again, migrated all these contact centers in a matter of months. Given the scale, that's much faster than an on-prem migration. And in the end, that results in a lower total cost of ownership for Salesforce. And true to that flywheel we noted before, Salesforce is continuing to evolve their capabilities on Amazon Connect even now as they enter the optimization phase of that migration. So you'll note here at the bottom a quote from Zane Gamble from Salesforce that for them, the use of AWS Professional Services was also key in accelerating the migration and adding capability just beyond their existing call flows. The AWS Professional Services team worked day in and day out, side by side with the Salesforce teams in a very collaborative fashion. We're able to focus on extending the functionality of Connect using things like data dips, screen pops, and other custom integrations that made that caller and agent experience even more seamless. But how do you know if, like Salesforce, you need help with your migration? Let me hand back over to Naomi to discuss just how you would know you need help and some of the migration program opportunities that might be available for you.
Thanks, Angie. So how can we help? You may not know this right away, but it's okay. You can ask for help at any time. These are some of the common things to look for as indicators that you may need help. Resource constraints. Look at your migration plan and timeline from the discovery and roadmap you put together that Angie discussed earlier. Do you have the resources you can dedicate to fit with your project plan? Look at your resources' AWS competencies. Are they just getting hands-on with AWS? Yet you'd like to conduct accelerated migration faster than the learning curve allows? Working methodology. Are you new to Agile and you're used to working in waterfall? It can take some time to adjust to working in an Agile Scrum team, and this may be a signal you need help. Time constraints in general. You may need to move at record speed, and you need to augment your resources at certain points to accelerate the migration. How can we help? AWS Professional Services and partners can help in many ways. And one of those ways is with Migration Acceleration Program, also known as MAP. MAP is a comprehensive and proven cloud migration program that's the result of AWS's experience migrating hundreds of enterprise customers. It packages our best practices, expertise, tooling, and financial incentives to make cloud adoption easier, allowing you to gain cloud benefits sooner. We've created a version of MAP for Amazon Connect. MAP for Connect is built in 3 phases to systematically help you accomplish the journey we just discussed. MAP starts with a migration assessment phase that includes a migration readiness assessment, known as MRA, along with a rapid discovery to support the creation of a total cost of ownership model for you to build business support for your migration project. The second phase is mobilize, designed to build your capabilities and experience how easy it is to migrate to AWS. Mobilize includes 8 work streams pictured here, and the level of activity required in these work streams is based on the readiness levels determined during MRA. Mobilize can include an actual migration of a recommended contact center, which allows your teams to build migration capabilities alongside migration experts from AWS or partners. Mobilize is typically 1 to 2 months involving professional services and/or a partner that prepares you for large-scale migration and operation, which is phase 3. During the migration scale phase, you will continue to migrate contact center workloads, operate and optimize your cloud environment and applications. Ask your AWS account team if MAP is right for you. In addition to professional services, we also have over 40 partners who have achieved our migration competency that have a proven track record of delivering large-scale legacy migrations and having the people, process, and technology capabilities available to help customers with large migrations. We've included a list of direct links to resources for your reference. These links include the AWS Migration Acceleration Program homepage, AWS's Cloud Adoption Framework, which is a framework created by AWS Professional Services to help organizations develop and execute efficient and effective plans for their cloud adoption journey. AWS Prescriptive Guidance, where you can find strategies, guides, and patterns from AWS and AWS's partner network. Amazon Connect Customers, where you can find additional customer stories listed by industry, ranging from retail, finance, education, healthcare, travel, hospitality, and more. The Amazon Connect Partner page, where you can find information on global consulting and technology partners and solutions. The AWS Contact Center blog page, where you can find articles with step-by-step solutions to common use cases authored by solutions architects and professional services consultants. The Amazon Connect Admin Guide, where you can find all the detailed information on configuring your contact center with Amazon Connect, all the way from standing up your instance to configuring contact flows to invoking Lambda functions and integrating with CRMs like Salesforce. The Amazon Connect Resources page, where you can find demonstration videos, information on new releases, white papers, and more. And lastly, we've also included a direct link to a previous webinar on agent load testing with Amazon Connect, which can help you streamline your production readiness. If you're not sure who to contact within your AWS account team, you can contact AWS Sales directly from the AWS Professional Services or the Cloud Adoption Framework homepages. Be sure to check these links regularly as we are continuously adding new content in all these areas. We've also included in the appendix a discovery and roadmap slide with detailed stages and a requirements gathering checklist to help you get started. Let's take a quick look at these appendix slides. Discovery and roadmap. Use this slide to help plan your discovery and roadmap activities. Use the as-is mapping questions to help you get grounded with your current landscape. Then use the gap assessment section to capture your key work streams. And finally, use the gap closure plan to outline the roadmap for your contact center future state and deployment. The requirements gathering checklist. Use this slide as a starting point in capturing all of your requirements. We find this exercise, along with prioritizing capabilities, complements and reinforces your roadmap planning, as it allows you to build your initial backlogs to not only start your migration, but to plan for post-migration optimization activities as well. So if you find you're currently approaching any of these migration drivers we've discussed, like aged infrastructure, difficult integrations, the need to reduce cost, etc., or even if you're not quite ready to start your full contact center migration, we highly recommend reviewing the resources we've put together to help you get a kickstart in your migration journey when you're ready. If you find you need help from AWS Professional Services, partners, or are interested in MAP for Connect, please let your AWS account team know and they will point you to the next steps on how to engage. Now that you've seen our best practices, we hope you can use this knowledge and resources we've shared to begin your contact center migration journey. With Amazon Connect, you can start quickly without the need to stand up infrastructure, pay as you go for what you use, and access AWS Professional Services or AWS partners to help accelerate your migration journey even more. Thank you so much for your time today, and we wish you a happy and fun migration journey. As we say at AWS, work hard, make history, have fun. And now Angie and I would be happy to answer any questions you may have.